Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do a follow up to the video we did yesterday talking about how half of Hollywood writers are now out of work. There is more indication that Hollywood is going to consolidate and also cut back on expense.
Shocker. You
Golly,
know, if
golly.
only if only people had said, "Hey, you know what? We have all these streaming services. Y'all are starting your own. Everybody and their dog had wanted a streaming service." And if someone had said that's probably not a good idea because there's not enough market for you to do that, and you're just going to end up buying each other out and consolidating or going under in a few years anyway. And oh, lo and behold, that's what happened.
Yeah, so we're going to look at just how far behind Netflix a lot of these other streaming services are. Some of them are starting to turn a very small profit. And I'm sitting there looking at the margins, especially with Disney, and I'm like, you probably lost more than that just on Snow White. But, whatever. But yeah, they all kind of went headfirst into the wood chipper chasing streaming. They weren't content to just put their content on Netflix. No. They all had to compete directly with Netflix. And it wasn't just one or two of them. It was like every damn studio. And now we're looking at a lot of them having to consolidate or merge to survive. And we'll talk a little bit more about, Paramount and Skydance. And there's probably going to be more. I mean, Warner Brothers is not in a good place right now. How long until they wind up, consolidating or selling off more parts of Warner Brothers? It's just not good. It's just not good, guys. And then we're going to talk about James Cameron coming out and saying that, yeah, he's open to using AI just as long as it doesn't replace people, but we need to get the cost of movies down.
To half. Well, I'm sorry. There's no way you're going to cut a movie cost in half without replacing people. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where it's like he's trying to be the good guy, but it's also like, yeah, I mean, I think people get it. I think they get it. But they do have to get the cost of the movies and the TV shows down. I mean, it's staggering how much money they're spending on this stuff and how much money they're losing on this stuff. And you can even have a show that's, somewhat successful, but costs so damn much money to produce that, you can have everybody watching it and it's still not making money.
Mm-hmm.
See also Marvel and Star Wars content on,
pretty much,
on Disney. And now nobody's even watching it.
No, because you said everybody was watching it. Can't be Marvel and Star Wars.
Well, they were watching it first. And
kinda.
So well. All right. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
So this has been something they've been talking a lot about in Hollywood, and it's inevitable, right? It's like Thanos. It is inevitable that they're going to have to merge and make deals to survive. This is why Hollywood is taking the opportunity to go outside of California for productions. They're looking to outsource. They're looking to AI, and they're not greenlighting as much as they used to because it doesn't perform.
No, and then they got rid of it, like you mentioned. They got rid of everything they could get rid of before that because it didn't perform.
Yeah. So there's this article out there on the Hollywood Reporter, and we'll just give you the bird's eye view of it. It's very confusingly written. And I think they're trying to get as many words in as possible for SEO stuff. They're saying that Netflix is the 800-pound gorilla, basically, and that everybody else is like way behind, even Disney.
Yeah. But they all thought they were going to start a streaming service, and they were all going to take away from Netflix. They took their stuff off. They were going to beat it. Because for years, Netflix and basically Hulu were the only two that were available. And it didn't work. Not only did they not take them down, they're like way far behind them.
Yeah, and it's pretty staggering. You look at the numbers here, and when they break it down, at first it looks like they're bringing in like a massive amount of revenue. And then you look at the profit, and you're like, those are some really piss poor margins. Like you're spending billions to make a couple of $100 million, and you literally could just like put that money in the stock market or something and make more.
Probably. Well, that's what they said. Sometimes they do. They'll pass on something that sucks and they'll just invest the money and make more money that way.
Well, that's what the CEO, I think, of Square Enix was talking about.
Yeah.
Anymore, he's just like, why would I spend $200-300 million on a game that might take a loss when I can just put it in the stock market?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why would I take a chance like that? Let's just release Final Fantasy VII again for the 19th time. Yeah, so they said that they're also what was boosting their bottom line too is they're being a lot more selective in their spending on original programming. That means every rando with a Tumblr webcomic is not going to get handed the keys to a multi-million-dollar
No.
animated series like they were doing. And they're going to be a lot more picky about what they greenlight, and they should be, because when you have so many failures, and then it's like, I would love to see the actual viewership numbers on Netflix or any other streaming service like they do on YouTube, because I would love to see how many people are not watching these shows.
Mm-hmm.
Greenlight. It's like bigots are mad. All the bigots turn people off to the show. And you look at it, it's like that episode got like 3,000 views. It's like, God, you could have just thrown your shit on YouTube and you would have made you would have made more money than putting it on streaming. But yeah, you can see here the subscriber. It's like we got Netflix, obviously the biggest, Disney second. It's not that far behind, but it's still pretty sizable. And that's only because of Hulu, that they're doing as well as they're doing. And then Warner Brothers, Paramount, NBC, Universal. NBC's, they're losing a massive amount of money on streaming. I had no idea.
Yeah, they're
But they
hemorrhaging
are.
people.
But let's go down here and we'll see who's actually profitable. So Netflix, this is actually pretty good. 33.7 billion they're making. It's a lot of money. 10.4 billion in profit.
Right. So like a third of what their revenue is, they're profiting from.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So you look at that and you're like, okay, that's going to be the standard across the board. No. Disney, 23 billion, but they only made 574 million.
Yeah, and they put they're swinging to profit. Honest.
Swinging to profit. What about all the years they weren't profitable? Like, you have to, what I'm saying? Like, you have to fill the hole in to get to get the surface flush so you can build something on top of it.
Well,
Right.
here's the thing though. When you're talking 23.3 billion, and how's that compared for revenue to Netflix again? Netflix was what, twice as much?
10 billion.
No, 10 billion more. Okay. So 10 billion more, but they're making 10 billion profit, and Disney's making they're making $500 million profit.
Something's wrong here, right? If I were an investor, and I do invest, but I don't invest in Disney anymore, but I'd be looking at this, I'd be like, wow, yeah, this one seems like a much better bet than this one, right? Mm-hmm. And like I said, Disney has lost $574 million just on the last couple of box office bombs they put out.
Yes, probably, yes.
So why are you even doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets to a point where it's like, literally, why are you even doing this? Because you have to hustle to keep all your customers happy. And you're basically just treading water at this point. Like, you're not, you know what I'm saying? This $10 billion, yeah, it's pretty good. 500 million, not so much. Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, see, they made more profit. They spent $10 billion, but they made 677 million in profit. So I spent.
So
less than half of what Disney spent, though, and they made more profit.
That's true. As I say, that's not as bad, but it's still not great. But yeah.
But again, they've been cutting stuff like crazy. They've been cutting cartoon content like crazy. Now, apparently, they're greenlighting more Looney Tunes or something. I read. I'm gonna have to look into that more.
Wait,
but I'm like,
what?
Wait a second. Yeah, apparently they were gonna do more. I'm like, wait, you just got done scraping Looney Tunes off the bottom of your shoes. Now you're talking more Looney Tunes. What the?
That doesn't make any sense.
What the hell is wrong with you? Paramount. They made 7.6 billion, and it's only $497 million profit. It's a negative. Oh, geez.
That's
okay.
Negative.
Whoops. That's a big, negative. Holy shit. Okay. Negative 497 million.
I was like, there's a minus there.
There's a minus there. I didn't think so. Why are you doing this? You know what I'm saying? Like, this will explain why they're, damn. Okay. So then we get to Comcast. Yeah. Comcast, I didn't catch it. They lost. Okay. Comcast brought in 4.9 billion. And then they lost $1.8 billion.
That's insane. That's like a lot to lose.
But hey, they've got The Office. So they took The Office off
Netflix, didn't they?
Yeah, they took The Office off of Netflix, made a big ass deal about it, got the Olympics, made a big ass deal about it, and they're in the hole. But the thing is they can take the loss. It's kind of like Apple, because they're Comcast, right? They own, probably 95% of people's internet and that's why they suck so bad, because you don't have a choice. um, but like, it's like Apple. Like, Apple's losing money on Apple TV, but they can afford it because it's just, change in the couch cushions for them. This isn't their sole business. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
no.
This is just like a side hustle for Comcast. I mean, to be honest, so are the theme parks. The theme parks are like a side hustle. They can probably afford to spend more on the parks
Yeah. Well,
than
there's a
Disney
side
can.
hustle. It's going to bite Disney in the tush.
Isn't that embarrassing when somebody's side hustle makes more than your full-time gig?
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot. So yeah, they're losing money. So now we're talking mergers. Of course, Paramount and Skydance are supposedly going to merge one of these days. But they got like a 90-day reprieve on it or something. It said the companies are waiting regulatory approval for the deal to close. If it's not finalized by April 7th, well, this was April 7th. They wrote this: certain conditions are met, the agreement allows for 2 automatic 90-day extensions. So part of the reason we're going to see so much consolidation or whatever is that Trump is probably going to lighten up on the regulations, because this happened during his last term, and that's how the AT&T Warner Brothers thing and all that got pushed through, because there were people that were not happy about it. They're trying to stop it. They probably should have stopped it, because it it didn't really go anywhere. But like, they're just going to let these studios do whatever the hell they want to do, I think, until they all blow each other up.
I don't know. I mean, it's everything we said was going to happen. I mean, that's where I'm coming from it at. Like, they're acting like, oh, this is going to probably mean consolidation. And I'm just like, no shit. Like, we told you this. We told you this back then.
I just don't understand. If you're 5 or 6 years into it with streaming and you're still losing billions of dollars, even hundreds of millions of dollars a year, why are you doing it? It makes no sense. I mean, any basic business owner, just like, if you're not making money year over year, how long are you going to let it go on until you just pull the plug, right?
It doesn't make any. You're talking about Hollywood. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, right? But you can't let people lose their jobs. So you gotta run it as a charity, right?
Pretty much. That's what they expect them to do.
Yeah, pretty much. So Variety had this a couple of days ago, and people were like, "What a hypocrite, James Cameron." Well, yeah, he was all against AI, and now he's kind of coming around. But he's like, only if people don't lose their jobs. I'm like, well, by its very nature, people are going to lose their jobs.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how they're gonna explore how AI can help cut the costs in half, but with not laying off the staff. Because if you're cutting the costs in half, a lot of the reasons things cost so much is like, especially has CGI, something like his movies.
Yeah.
A lot of people working in there, you might be able to speed up some things. So basically, you may keep all your staff, but they only might work half as long. So they're still getting screwed.
No
but at least they all
overtime.
get to have a job. You know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out how he figures that can happen.
I don't know. I think it's wishful thinking. Like, he doesn't want to be the bad guy. He doesn't want to be a dick. And there's a lot, like, look, here's the thing. You look at where AI is now compared to where it was a couple of years ago, and you can see already the time that can be shaved off of projects just by having AI speed things up, especially with special effects in the animation. And it's not quite there yet. But there is going to come a time where you can reduce your VFX people by probably a half or a third, with the help of AI. And especially when they're using like the industrial, like, we've got the consumer grade AI, but these studios are using like the industrial grade stuff that we don't have access to yet, right? And I guarantee you, they're all behind the scenes. They're all wheeling and dealing, making deals, and they're going to have access to AI that is just completely mind blowing, and it is going to be a game changer. And it's going to cost a lot of people their jobs, but I mean, this is a guy who,
like I said, the only thing you can do is if it's half the time, half the budget, you're talking and people are going to have the budget. You might keep your job, but you're going to be done in half the time. So you're not going to make as much money.
Yeah. Well, he says he's trying to figure out. So he joined the board of Stability AI. I thought he hated AI, but he said that he's trying to figure out how AI might help bring costs down without replacing crew members. Well, some of them can make sandwiches, I guess.
I'm just saying, I mean, it
I
sounds to me
don't
like
think
he
him.
thought he was going to join this group because he figures if he's not in the group, he can help control the group as opposed to just letting it happen to you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
still.
I mean, he's always been one that's been on top of the latest technology. So I was very surprised when he was kind of against AI because I'm like, dude, you would have been all over this 20 years ago. And he even says, I would have started my own business and would have figured out how to do it, back in the day. But yeah, so it's gonna be really interesting. But yeah, he says it's not hypothetical if we want to continue to see the kinds of movies that I've always loved, like Dune or whatever. We've got to figure out how to cut the cost in half. Now, that's not about laying off half the staff in the effects company. Well,
Well, that's
isn't it?
basically what you're going to, how are you going to cut it in half? You're saying it, but how? Does he say double the speed of completion, meaning you'll get half the work? Like you might all get to keep your job, but instead of having a 9 month to a year job, you might only have a 6 month job, a 4 month job.
I mean, the other thought process is if you can make a movie in half the time at half the cost, you can make two movies for the
Two
price of
movies.
one, and you can double your money. And so I mean, there's that too. But like, yeah, he said he's not completely sold on AI. He doesn't think it's going to replace screenwriters completely, but it will help them. I mean, this is what we're talking about. I mean, this is what I've always talked about with AI. Is I'm not talking about necessarily replacing all people, just the worthless ones. Just the people that don't need to be there. You do not need 20 people in the writer's room for an 8 episode season of a Netflix show, right?
Yeah.
You get the two head writers or whatever, and
The
they
ones that are
use,
sitting in the corner on their phone, spending more time just being activists than they are doing their jobs.
right. I'm going to tweet angry things now because I'm mad at you. Yeah, no, we don't need those people. Get 2 or 3 good writers, give them some help in the form of AI that's maybe trained on their writing style, which you can do, and turn them loose. And but they don't want that because they want everybody to have have ridiculously high paying jobs when the money's running out. Like, this is not realistic. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, the money's running out. Long story short, we're going to see a lot of things in Hollywood, and I think we're going to see a lot of Hollywood competitors pop up out of the left field. Netflix was an outlier, and now
Mhm.
they're like the gold standard in Hollywood. And that's what these studios were always afraid of. Like, we can't let a tech company come in and be Hollywood. Well, guess what? They are Hollywood now. So
Yeah, pretty much.
deal with it. Gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.